Snow drifted through the narrow streets as Christmas Eve wrapped the small town in its quiet, glowing silence. People rushed into warm homes, bags full of gifts, cheeks red from the cold. But Mark, a 34-year-old single father, walked slower than everyone else. His worn jacket did little to block the winter wind, and his boots had long lost the battle against snow. Still, he carried a soft smile because his 5-year-old son, Noah, held his hand and hummed Christmas songs. This year had been brutal. Mark had lost his job at a local workshop when it shut down. Ever since, every day had been a long struggle to stretch every dollar. He had bought Noah a small wooden toy he carved himself, because that was all he could afford. But Noah didn't know the difference, and that gave Mark strength. As they passed the bakery, warm scents of fresh bread drifted toward them. That was when Noah tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy, someone's there." Mark followed the direction of his son's gaze. Near a trash bin beside the alley, a little girl, maybe 7 years old, was digging through discarded boxes. Her hair was messy, her coat 2 sizes too big, and her small hands red from the cold. She wasn't looking for food. She was searching carefully, almost gently, as if hoping to find something precious. Mark felt a sting in his chest. But he had been taught never to make assumptions. Some children were mischievous. Some were curious still. Something about her slow, deliberate movements made him uneasy. He walked closer. "Hey there," he said softly so he wouldn't startle her. The girl froze, clutching a torn teddy bear she had just pulled from the trash. Her brown eyes lifted wide with fear. I'm not stealing," she whispered. "I'm just looking." "For what?" Noah asked gently, stepping forward. The girl hesitated. Her breath trembled in the cold air. "A gift," she whispered. "For my little brother. It's his first Christmas, and I don't have anything to give him." Noah leaned toward his dad and whispered, "She's like me. Daddy, she wants her brother to be happy." Mark swallowed hard. He knelt down. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Ava," she said, barely audible. "Where are your parents, Ava?" Her lips parted, but no words came. Her eyes darted toward the old apartment building across the street. "My mom, she's sick. My dad, he left. I'm the oldest, so I try." Mark felt the world stop for a moment. He knew the weight of responsibility. He knew the sting of trying to protect a child with almost nothing. And looking into Ava's frightened, hopeful eyes, he recognized something else, quiet courage. "Is your home warm?" he asked. Ava shook her head. "The heat stopped last week. But it's okay. I keep my baby brother close to me when he sleeps." Every word hit Mark like a blow. He reached for his wallet, knowing it held almost nothing. But then he remembered the small Christmas dinner he had planned. A cheap chicken, a few potatoes, and some cookies he and Noah had baked together. Not much, but enough for 2. Could he stretch it for 3 more mouths? He looked at Noah. His son nodded before Mark even asked. "We can share, Daddy." A single tear escaped before Mark could stop it. "Come with us," he told Ava. "Just for tonight. It's Christmas Eve. No child should be cold tonight." Ava's lips trembled. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely," Mark said, standing and offering his hand. Ava stared at it for a long moment before placing her frozen little fingers into his palm. They walked back to Mark's small apartment, snow crunching under their feet. Inside, warmth greeted them, along with the soft glow of a small second-hand Christmas tree decorated with handmade ornaments. Ava stared at it like it was magic. Noah rushed to the kitchen to show her the cookies he had helped bake. Ava hesitated at the table, unsure whether she was allowed to sit. Mark pulled the chair out for her. "You're safe here, Ava." While dinner warmed in the oven, Mark stepped into the hallway, pulled out his phone, and called the only person he trusted, his neighbor, Mrs. Harriet, a retired nurse. He explained Ava's situation as best he could. Within minutes, she arrived with a bag of medicines and warm blankets. When she entered the living room and saw Ava up close, her face softened. "Oh, honey." She wrapped the girl in a thick blanket. "You're freezing." Ava's eyes glistened. "No one ever does this for us." Mark and Mrs. Harriet exchanged a heavy look. After dinner, simple but warm, Noah showed Ava the wooden toy his father made for him. Ava held it carefully. "Your dad makes gifts?" "Yeah," Noah said proudly. "He can make anything." Ava bit her lip. I wish I had something like that for my brother." Mark felt something move deep within him. "Tell me about him." "He's only 2. His name is Leo, he likes soft things, and he cries when he's cold. Mark excused himself, stepped into his work corner, and opened his old wooden toolbox. He took out scrap pieces of soft pine and a worn carving knife. Slowly, he began shaping something small. Ava watched silently, her eyes shining. She didn't speak until he finished carving a tiny wooden bunny with long ears and a round belly. For Leo, Mark said, handing it to her. Ava gasped so sharply her breath cracked. No one ever made anything for us. It's Christmas, Mark replied with a soft smile. And every child deserves a gift. Ava hugged the wooden bunny to her chest. Thank you. I'll never forget this. It was well past midnight when Mark decided to walk Ava home. He couldn't let her go alone. Snow had thickened, turning the street into a soft white blanket. Her building was worse up close, cracked windows, broken steps, and a silence that felt heavy. Inside the small apartment, the air was icy. A baby boy slept on a thin mattress wrapped in 2 old sweaters. Ava's mother lay on a worn sofa, pale and coughing weakly. When she opened her eyes and saw Mark, fear flickered. I'm not taking your daughter, he said quickly. We're here to help. The woman began crying, quiet, exhausted tears. I didn't want her to go out, but we have nothing. Mark knelt beside her. She's brave, and she loves you both. Mrs. Harriet arrived moments later. She had followed them with supplies. She checked the mother's temperature, listened to her breathing, and gave her medicine. She needs proper rest, she said gently. And heat. Mark looked around. Your heater doesn't work? It broke months ago, the mother whispered. I've been waiting for help, but... Mark stood. He glanced at Noah, who was holding baby Leo carefully. Ava clung to her mother. Something inside him hardened, something fierce. We're fixing this, he said simply. He left the apartment and went straight into town, even though shops were closing. He spoke to the hardware store owner, an old friend who knew Mark's reputation as a skilled craftsman. When he learned the situation, the man sighed and said, Take what you need. Pay me later. Within an hour, Mark was back with tools, parts, blankets, and food. He worked through the night repairing the heater, sealing gaps in the windows, and tightening broken hinges. By morning, warm air filled the apartment for the first time in months. Ava watched him with awe. Why are you doing all this? She whispered. Mark looked at her, then at her brother sleeping peacefully in the warmth. Because someone once helped me when I had nothing, and I swore that if I ever met someone in need, I wouldn't walk away. Ava burst into tears and hugged him. He held her gently, not as a stranger but as someone who understood her pain. As the sun rose, turning the sky soft gold, Ava's mother whispered, Thank you. Mark, I don't know how to repay you. You don't need to, he said softly. Just take care of your kids. That's enough. When he and Noah finally returned home, tired but peaceful, his phone buzzed. A message from the hardware store owner. Come see me next week. I might have work for you. He looked down at Noah, who smiled sleepily. Daddy, we helped them, right? Yes, Mark whispered, kissing his son's forehead. And helping others. That's the real Christmas magic. Outside, bells chimed from the town square. Snow glimmered on the rooftops. And somewhere across the town, a little girl held a wooden bunny close to her chest, sleeping peacefully in a warm room for the first time in months, because a single dad had stopped when he saw her searching through trash on Christmas Eve.